Down, say you down. You gotta stand up and fight. Oh, you gotta stand up. Oh, you fight.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Oh, you fight.
In person is so much more beautiful.
You know that's just stuck with me.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the world's dopest podcast, Marley State of Mind podcast. Down here at the Bunchabull Studios as per usual. And you know, we're doing it just like we do every week, bringing you a special guest. And this week we got Mr. Bunchabull himself.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on, bro?
It's kind of strange being on the other side of this.
Yeah, you usually behind the scenes, taking care of all the tough shit, the technical aspect. But now I get to do my interview with you. Which I think is a good timing for. I was going to say long overdue, but I think it's really good timing for it.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of crazy because if we would have done it any sooner, I feel like we wouldn't have. Like, we've just started having some pretty weird big breaks lately.
Yeah.
So I feel like we wouldn't have been able to like touch on what's really happening now.
Yeah.
And if we would have did it later.
Earlier.
Well, no, that was the earlier.
Oh,
if we would have
okay.
did it sooner, we wouldn't have been able to talk
Yeah.
on some of the accolades that we've actually
Right.
hit. And if we would have did it later, I feel like we would like miss our mark of talking about those
Some
accolades.
of those things that we've already got accomplished.
Because it's like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, that was a year ago or
Yeah.
whatever.
No, for sure. So, you know, I usually like to kick off the podcast saying how I was introduced to the guests or how I come to find them. For you, I think the first time that we officially met, I know we met each other briefly at the Sean Ski Christmas show. Sean had a lot of good things to say about you. You helped sponsor that show. You know, and he was grateful for that. And he was just saying how good of a dude you was. He came down to the studio and seen what you had going on, down to the boutique, and he was really impressed. And he was telling me about you. And I know at the time you were doing your podcast.
Yeah.
Bullshitting with Jesse. Is that what it was? Bullshitting with Jesse.
Bullshitting. Well,
Or just bullshitting.
it mixed up a little bit because like for a little while I think it was just bullshitting with Jesse and the gang maybe.
Yep.
And then it switched to just bullshitting. And then I actually think we ended up going into bullshitting East Side or East End Edition.
Yeah.
And we had Cam and them on
Yep.
here.
Yep.
So yeah, it definitely switched up a lot.
I went through some
the
transition. Yeah, and the first time I got in tune with the network in general, I seen an interview with Luco in Hollywood. I think Kills was on as well, and you were just showing like the different videos that Luco was doing and shit like that, and I was impressed at that time. And after I seen that, I definitely wanted to come on and be a guest, and I got the opportunity to be a guest, and just the vibe was dope. I like what you guys were doing down here, and you welcomed me in with open arms. I told you I was interested in doing my own podcast, and you know, we got started and never really looked back.
Yeah.
At that time, would you like when we first met and I brought to you the idea that I wanted to do a podcast? Would you have at that time imagined that we'd be here today? We'll be 60-something episodes deep.
Yes and no. Not necessarily. I don't think that I would have believed we would have been this far.
Yeah.
But oftentimes there's like a thing where people will ask to be not necessarily be a part of something, but like, yo, I got this idea.
Right.
But it never, it's like you say, oh, hell yeah, bro, stop through. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. We'll work it out. And then it's like, it feels like it's only one-sided communication. But whenever that was like not the case almost immediately,
Right.
I already had hope that like, oh yeah, dude's going to want to pull up. He's going to want to do this because I always think of things from the other person's perspective too.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I'm sure you're probably thinking like, bro, I'm a rapper. This is great promo for me also. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to be on a podcast and people are going to see me more. So that's going to be more inclined to look at my music.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? It's whenever people take the initiative and find the little ways of being being part of a team, but also finding ways to benefit you without making the other party member like, oh, damn, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like feel like you're being used type shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's often ends up being like what the rough part of any.
The relationship just being one way, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to shout out everybody that's come through on our platform since the very beginning.
Yeah,
like,
hell
you know,
yeah.
Luco, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Them boys, they all really turned up that night. That was a fun night.
Yeah, that was a dope episode.
And yeah, I want to shout out Sean for coming through. That was awesome.
What up, Sean?
I'll always be trying to find ways to help the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
definitely
just
do that.
feel like when I was growing up, there was not this much going on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But there was more going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we had Wills of 8, DeVito Park.
Yeah.
Swaney's didn't only do birthday parties that you had to book ahead of time.
For sure.
Like, we had, and that's just roller rinks. You mean we had 4 different bowling
DeVito
alleys.
used to crack, rode out. I live right
Bro,
down
the
the street.
lock-ins.
I used to. Oh my God, what?
Yeah, like, dude.
So official. I don't know what our parents was. I don't know what our
Dude,
parents
I was
were
talking
thinking,
about
bro.
that the other week. Like,
Letting us just
they
spend the
dropped
night.
us off
Yes.
at like 6, 7 p.m.
Boys, girls.
And for 12 hours, there was 3 adults that watched over 130 children.
Right, unsupervised. You're basically unsupervised. They can't see everything you're doing.
Yeah, between the skating rink and the ice
skating rink. Yep. Yeah.
mayhem ensued.
Oh man, that was fire. But it was never really no crazy stuff that happened.
No, I mean, there's some V cards taken.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Boys climbing bases.
yeah,
and
other
shit.
than that, but that's the whole point. You know, back
Yeah.
then, you didn't have motherfuckers wanting to fight. I mean, there was some fights.
Yeah, but it wasn't nothing crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't always.
You fight
a
until you
fight.
get it over with, and it's cool type shit.
Yeah, you didn't have people wanting to shoot,
Right.
or instantly
It was
planning
never,
on shooting.
Yeah, it was never even an idea.
And I feel like almost.
You feel like that's what's lacking nowadays?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like people don't feel like people care.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's like there's not enough going on in the community, and in turn, that's gonna like subconsciously make the younger generation feel like these motherfuckers don't even care about
Don't
us.
even care about us, yeah.
And so now they're gonna go try to find their own way, whatever and however it is.
Yeah. And a lot of times that ends up in like a negative fashion. A negative outlet is how they decide to get that off.
It's very few and far between that someone takes that knowledge or that feeling and
Puts it into a positive.
yeah, turns it into going to MIT somehow or into the stock market or whatever.
No, for sure. But yeah, man. So, we met, we did the show, and, we, like I said, we never really looked back. And like you said, shout out to all the guests. Fran, a special shout out to Franchise for being our first
episode
guest.
1. That was
Yeah.
a big one for episode 1.
That was a big
awesome.
one for episode 1, man. If y'all haven't seen that episode, go check it out. Fran took a chance. He drove down here, drove an hour out of his way. For the first episode, it's not like, when guests come on now, we have a track record. We have numbers behind us. We have things behind us. We have great guests that have already came on. So it's a little bit easier to persuade people when you have those things going for you.
Yeah.
But that very first episode, we had no proof of concept. As far as I was concerned, but that was the other beautiful thing about being a part of this network. You did have that. You already had a track record, and you already had episodes in place, and you already had a network in place with things. So that helped me leverage things as well. But to the original point, shout out to Fran for taking a chance and going out of his way and donating his time for the first episode. And we got to bring him back, man. Him and Vinny and Germ to promote that Come Up Boys project, because that was crazy.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a lot of people that need click that comment off, Caleb.
What
I
up,
feel
Eric?
like there's a lot of people
What up, Johnny
that
Mays?
we need to do a revisit with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, shout out Johnny Mace. Shout out Irk. What's going on with the peoples?
Yeah, shout out to everybody tuned in right now.
Mace, the new video, you and Wooski looking fire.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mace came on too and showed the boys some love. So shout out to, I can't see what that says though. He came out and showed the boys some love and definitely came through.
Yo, I appreciate you, my man, for real. Yeah, bro. Me and
What'd he
Mace go so far back. He said, shout out to my boy Jesse. We've been boys for a decade. Hell yeah. Super proud of how you come.
Yeah, for sure.
How far you came. Bro, we was in Cal U. I didn't even go to school down there.
Yeah, that's what you was telling
I
me.
spent a whole 4 years in Cal U. I didn't go to school there.
Didn't get one class in.
We was just down there getting shitty,
Yeah.
smoking, and having fun. And that's my first year of kicking it down there. I met Mason. We just partied all
Been
the
a vibe
time.
since. But yeah, man. So with the network, like I said, so when I came on, you were already established. You were doing episodes when I came on, and I know ideally when we first spoke, you said you wanted to have a network that was going 24/7
Yeah.
with episodes, and at that time I think we were closer. It probably was episodes going on damn near every day.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of stretching it though.
Yeah,
I was using
Stretching-
ideas that weren't that good of ideas just to try to fill time.
okay, okay,
I've learned from there on out. Like now, I still would love to get to the network, like full blown network style where you could just check something out. But I feel like that'll come with time as long as we bring good content for the content we do have.
Do you feel like in that sense, you were trying to get quantity over quality, and now you've learned that it really is quality over
Yeah.
quantity at this point?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because and some of our ideas were good, just not well executed maybe.
Okay, yeah,
But it still just doesn't take away from the fact that I would rather, when we get bigger and have a huge name for ourselves,
yeah,
that people, for lack of a better term, like Wallow and Gilly, like
Yeah, yeah.
they'll want to come do a show
Right.
on our network rather than me try to pull a couple of my friends together to do this show and this show and
Right.
this show. It's like I'm stretching myself and all my boys thin.
Right.
Why don't we make this something so big that other people that already have their own,
What happened?
like they have their own thought process, they have
Yeah.
their own motivation,
Right.
let them come to us. Or, you know, obviously we could reach out to them, but like I want that to be something
No, I feel you.
in the future.
I feel you want to make it so big that people can't help but to want to be a part of it,
Yeah.
and they're actually bringing something to the table besides forks.
And I feel like that'll be good content because no one wants to fuck up a shot
Right.
or a chance. You
No,
know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
So like it's going to be months before their first episode and they're going to just be, you know what I mean, on the computer 24/7 figuring out how they're going to make it the best first episode.
Yeah. Now, through your time doing this and your experiences doing this, or hold on, before I even get there, what made you originally want to even do a podcast network, a YouTube channel? How did it start off? Did you want to do podcasts originally, or were you just trying to make a YouTube channel? What was the original motivation behind a Bunchabull Studios
Is it-
YouTube channel?
An interesting, weird story. And it was like a life-changing type situation. Yo, my boy Perp.
What up,
What's
Perp?
good? I appreciate you, my man. So, my boy Art and Xavier, Art Like Us, Xavier Thomas, that's my boy. That's like my brother forever.
Hell yeah.
He's well known as a photographer, you know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
He's done his thing.
Super talented
And
photographer at that for the stars.
oh yeah, it's crazy what his track record is.
Grab a water right quick.
And that's what seemed like such a good idea. We were sitting there and we're bullshitting. We're bullshitting at the house one day and we're just talking about like what could we do to get some like traction, you know what I mean? Like what could we do that's not just the same hustle we've been doing?
Right, something different.
And it came about was like, you know what? I can fund a place.
Spilled hella water on me.
I was like, I can fund a place. What we need is the right guests, the right people to, because we were thinking of like what's gonna skyrocket us, not like what we're doing now is building something.
Right.
We were trying to like skip
one-shot
so,
deal,
Yeah, we were
yeah.
trying to skip so many steps.
Trying to hit a home run, basically.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, Art, you got the clientele. Let's do a podcast. You
What up,
bring
Trap?
Hardo. Yeah, how you doing? You got time? Sit down.
You certainly welcome. Tonight's episode, we're interviewing Jesse about the network and how the network came about. We got a special guest in the house. Is that mic on?
He might be able to turn it up if it's not.
That's cool. They hear me. Big shout out to Bunchabull and Jesse and Marley.
Yeah,
For
yeah, it's
sure.
on.
Oh, we ain't got her in shot though.
Oh here.
No,
that
y'all ain't gotta
won't
do
be
nothing
rough.
extra. I'm just saying what's up.
For
Yo,
sure.
But so
So at first it was just you wanted to make a home run. You wanted to make a home run and just hit it straight out the stands and do something and just go viral crazy.
Yeah, we were thinking like, all right, we're an hour south of Pittsburgh. Art's well known. Let's do a podcast, bring Hardo on.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's boom, we're going to get traction.
Right.
After that, he knows Fab. Let's get Fab on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we had this
trying to pull
plan,
the connections, yeah.
and it would have worked. Now, poor timing and life happens. He ended up having to move over to LA and handle some stuff.
Right.
And I was still in the process of trying to find like what I was going to do as my own hustle. Like I wanted to flip houses.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to this tax auction. I'm going to find me a house, fix it up. You know, I mean, we paint, we do everything already.
Right.
Don't need to spend a whole lot of money on it because I can do it all.
Right.
Go to the tax auction. The only thing it is duplexes, apartment complexes. I don't want to be no more than landlord.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wanted to flip a house, not be a landlord.
You wanted to get it done and over with type shit.
Yeah, so that plan got put on the back burner. I'm like, all right, well, don't know what I'm going to do now. Go back to working normal like always. One day, we're at this guy's house. We're painting, and he owns a lot of properties and shit. And John Smith ended up, he was working for us at the time, and he was looking for a place to stay. So, dude, we asked him, we was like, do you have any properties that are open right now? He's like, yeah, actually, right up behind my house, there's a trailer up there. And we're like, can we go look at it after we're done here? Like, yeah. So we go up there, we look. In the back of the trailer was an addition that was about the size of the trailer.
Yeah.
And we're like, hell yeah, we'll take it. And John, I'm going to rent the addition off of you. And that was the
studio.
Yeah, that was the original idea of the studio. Was
That's
like,
fire.
This is it.
So what did you start off doing at that studio? Were you doing like podcasts at that time or?
We started setting things up because Art was still in and out of town.
Right.
So we started setting things up to do the podcast, and then there were just these two closets, and they were perfect for booths.
Okay.
So we turned one into a booth, and I started thinking, like, what if we got someone in here, they make a little song, they come do the podcast, release the song on the podcast, then we do a video of them in the booth, and we drop the, you know what I mean? We could drop whole packages every single time an artist comes in. We got whole packages going out.
Right.
And so that was the whole reason why we even started a music recording part of the studio. Originally, this wasn't supposed to be music recording at all. It was just podcast shit. And then we had that idea, and then it just kind of
snowball from there.
Yeah, because if you're going to have an engineer to do a song for, let's say, Hardo when he's here, well, that engineer is going to, like, you can't just hire him for one day here or there. Like, it's got to be your engineer now. So it kind of became, we got to try to make this a recording place now.
Right.
And it just, like you said, it snowballed heavy.
Damn, so that's crazy. So initially, you didn't even have the network in mind. You were just trying to do something real quick type shit and trying to blow up off of there and parlay that into multiple other chances to make bigger episodes. Per se bigger.
Yeah.
So you're there, you're shooting. What was the first episode? Did you start off with bullshitting? What was the first? What was the name of the first podcast? And who was your first guest? Do you recall the first guest?
Bro, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember any of that. Give me a second to look back. Because we're talking 3 years ago.
3 years? Time flies, ain't it? So current day, the studio, the podcast studio is a podcast studio. You have the boutique upstairs and the studio upstairs as well. Was your reasoning for that is you always wanted to keep it in the same vibe? You always wanted to keep the studio around, like the recording studio as well as the video podcasting space?
Yeah, I felt like once I got all the equipment for it and it was kind of like set up, it was like even if we don't use it, someone at some point is going to ask about it. I can rent the space out to somebody that's already an engineer and just needs a place. As like, it's kind of no point. What else are we going to do with the room?
Right.
You know what I mean? We didn't have any plans for the room. So it was like no point in not leaving it how it is and just seeing how it pans out.
Hell yeah.
So the last thing that we have on here, which this reminds me, there is a lot of episodes that ended up not being on or YouTube anymore. But the first thing that we have on here was streamed 2 years ago, and I wasn't even on the camera.
Damn.
It was Sand and Mulu for top 5 most binge-worthy series.
So it was like a review?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't start until 2 videos later when I did the Q&A with Wolfie from Metaphysical when he was making his energy drink, which he's actually still working on. But yeah, then from there, it started with bullshitting with Jesse and Mulu, and that's where it all came about.
Yeah. Goddamn fly came in as a special guest.
Bro, this fly driving me nuts.
So that's dope. So the dope thing I think about dealing with you and working with you is the fact that you say things and they come to life. You manifest things, you make them true, and you don't just do lip service. Because a lot of time you'll hang around individuals who have these grand ideas, but never put them in fruition, never put them in the act. But anytime that I've been with you or dealt with you and you had an idea, it always came to life, and you execute. And it's good to have people around like that, because when I say you have people that have grand ideas and speak about things and they never get them into life, I'm one of those individuals that's very guilty of that. Like, I have these grand ideas and real shit, you know what I mean? And I know that. I think it's good to be self-aware of things. And I have all of these things I want to put into life, but I don't have the, I mean, what it comes down to, I'm not even gonna make an excuse for myself. I don't have the drive necessary to get myself to that point.
Sometimes it's extra time, though. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might have enough time to get it done, but you might not have enough time to really, like...
That's fire. You're trying to make an excuse.
Yourself,
I think it's an excuse, though. I think there's no reason why you can't do anything that you want to do. The only limitation that you have is yourself.
What you're saying about me right now, I have 2 vehicles at my house that I went to college to be a car mechanic, and they're still both broke down, and I've had them sitting, you know what I mean? Like, one needs a transmission. I just don't have the time
to
fair. Swap the transmission. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's a time restraint. You can't necessarily put it on yourself of and like, I just don't want to do this.
Sometimes it is resources as well, because like I said, up until the point I met you, I'm always wanted to do a podcast that's like what I'm doing now, because I know I have a lot of cool friends who do music, and I always thought it'd be cool, because I am a fan of the art of hip hop, to be able to do something like this. To the fucking flies got me looking crazy on camera.
This fly said the world needs to hear me.
Yeah, right. But I always wanted to do it, and I knew it was something that I wanted to bring into fruition. And to the point I met you and had the proper resource and an outlet that you provided, I wasn't able to put that into life. But now that I was able to put that into life, you know, I've certainly took it and run with it. But so you're right. Sometimes it is about resources. It is about time. It is about timing. Sometimes it's just not the right time for you. Sometimes God lets you know, like, it's just not time for you. You're not ready for that.
But what put me in that mind state of, like...
State of mind.
If I say something, I'm going to do my damn best to, like... She's seen me... We were supposed to do an interview, and I tried I was sick. I was sick, and I should have not even tried it, but I didn't want to let her down, and I wanted to make sure the show ran.
Right.
She's seen me in the bathroom throwing my life away. Like, you know what I mean? So, but what it is being adopted.
Important. Yeah.
I had a set of parents that always showed me, and this is nothing against my biological parents.
Sure.
My father passed away. Still love him. My mother, love her to death.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of times where I had the parents that I lived with that, like, if they said something, they did it.
Right.
But then I had
they instilled that in you.
But I had my birth parents that, like, I would see my dad here and there, and he'd be like, oh, yeah, take me out back and show me in the shed that he got me this dirt bike. And he's like, once you get a little bit older, that's yours. And then the next time I come through, the dirt bike's gone.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, hey, come out the house. We got Christmas presents for you, but he never comes to pick no one up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like...
You got to see the contrast of what it means to be a person that stands up to your word and what it means to be a person that your word's not shit.
And I felt the, like, how someone would feel if you don't come through on it. You know what I mean? If I tell you I'm going to be there and I don't, you might have had your all in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That might have been your big event for the day or whatever. And then I not show up. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been a casualty to that emotion. I can't put someone else through that. What the fuck does that make me?
No, I'm glad you speak on that, because that's one of the things that I try to value more so now than ever before in life. And it's one of the things that I had to try to stick to and learn about was keeping my word. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I say it to you, I want to mean it and I want to follow through with it. And that's why a lot of times I'll tell people, even though it might be hard. And I think some people fear telling people no. But, you know what I mean? I'll tell you, like Jesse might be like, yo, bro, you trying to do this? And I'll be like, man, as much as I want to say yes to that, I'm going to tell you I'm not sure. Because I don't want the time to come and I'll be like, I can't do it.
Oh yeah, and that's,
you know what I mean? And
I always appreciate honesty about that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's whenever they say yeah,
right.
and then last minute something comes up that it's
Right.
like, I understand life happens. I'm
Right.
not here to be angry at you because you didn't go, but
Right.
it's shitty. It's
100%.
shitty.
Yeah. So I think it's important to be a man or woman of your word. And if you say something, follow through with that. And I think, you know, now more than ever, words are like cheap. Like people throw words around very cheaply and they don't stand up to them. And I always think back to like ancient times where all you had was your word.
I was just getting ready to say.
That's all you had. Like
once
that
upon a
was your
time,
credit.
that was all you had,
That
and
was your
one time
credit.
in the future, that's all you'll have again
Yep.
is your word. You know, like
And
we were
people
saying
gonna know.
earlier, it might be 100 years, 1,000 years from now.
Oh, yeah,
something might happen that's gonna knock out the power grid, or
sure.
you know what I mean, whatever. And we're gonna start going back to Stone Age style shit. It might not be that drastic,
Right.
but you know what I
To
mean.
some level
shit's
of
gonna
that,
be knocked
yeah.
down. Now, what do you do when you got to be on a barter system?
Right.
But your job is an office worker. Like,
Right.
you don't have a lot of barter, my man. Like, you got to work something out. Now, you got to start leather working. You got to start,
You got to use some different type of skills. Yeah.
Because you're going to be stuck whenever you're asking some dude for corn to feed your family. And he's like,
What you got to give me?
I got these cows that need milking.
Right.
You know what I
Real
mean?
shit.
Like, and that's
That's
why.
what it comes down to. You got to be a man or woman of your word, because sometimes that's your credit, and it is, bro. Like, you know, like I said about that, when people no show, no call for a podcast, like I'll never book you again. I promise you, I'll never book you again if you do something like that, because you told. Not only did you disrespect my time, but you're not a person of your word, and you can't even face up to the consequences. Of just saying, you know, I fucked up or something came up or whatever the case may be. Like, even if something comes up, at least have the decency to say,
Let us know.
hey, something came up, I'm not able to do this. And not only that, if somebody asks me about you, I'm like, yeah, they're bad business. And I'm not going to gossip or rumor about somebody that hears bad business. But if you and I personally do business and you're bad business, I'm going to say, I personally know this individual was bad business.
And what's crazy
And
about
because my word's good, because I hold up to it, people are going
Yes.
to value that. They're going to be like, oh, bro said
yeah,
that that's
he wouldn't
bad
say that
business.
for no reason.
Right.
What's crazy about those types of things is like, they don't, like, everyone has a life, you know what I mean?
100%,
Like,
yeah.
and we might not have a lot of like, I don't have a lot of free time. I
Right.
know you don't have a lot of free
Right.
time. So like, if I don't have to be here,
Right.
I would like to spend what little extra couple hours I can with my child.
Right.
But they don't think about what else we got going on in life. They just think that like, oh, well, they're going to be at the studio whether I am or am not there. Like, no, not really.
Really,
Because
yeah.
if you told me you weren't going to show up, I
might have
took
made
my
other
kid and my
plans.
wife out to dinner.
Right. Bro, real shit. And that's the other thing. Like, not only are you screwing me over in those situations, I got other people that are on the team that are here as well. You're inconveniencing their time. And not only that, you're making me look bad because now they're like, my word doesn't look as good as it did before because I'm counting on you.
And
So
how
not only
many-
did you waste my time, you wasted times of my my comrades, and
Viewers.
and you lessened the value of my word because your word's no good. You know what I mean? And these are the things that individuals have to take into account that most don't. They take it for granted.
I always wonder how many viewers of like, let's just hypothetical, we're going to have MGK on here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we promote it, and he don't show up and we don't do the
Yeah.
podcast. How many of his viewers now look at him a type of way
Right.
because they were expecting him to be here and he just doesn't show up?
Show up, yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it looks bad on us, but like, bro, you're also killing your own image, and like, that's what we're all trying to build heavily.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you need all, not necessarily like anybody specific, but like everybody needs the most positive outlook
Spin.
on their image as possible.
100%.
You can't afford in this day and age where like artists come a dime a dozen if you're found in the right light. or know the right people.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's SoundCloud rappers that should have never been famous that got famous because they know the right person.
100%.
And when you're in the day and age where a TikTok can make you famous, man, you need all the positive light you can get. You can't afford to take one negative loss.
Right. No, 100%, bro. And I think that's the thing that separates you from a lot of people that I've encountered and messed with, is the fact that you're staying true to your word. You're a man of your word. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you for that, certainly.
Oh, always.
So you're doing the network. You have the you're having different people come on, and you're having them do different things here. What's your process for that? Like, whenever you're looking to work with individuals, do you have certain things that you look for in people, or do you just like, are you like a person that's open to give people a shot and kind of just see how it goes, or what's your criteria whenever you're putting together, I guess, a team? I would say
I'm definitely the type of person to give everybody an equal shot if they come to me the right way.
Okay.
You mean that's sometimes the biggest downfall for some people is they'll come to me and, like, no names, but there was a situation at the old studio. Someone shows up with somebody that we knew, and I don't know if he thought I was trying to be a label and, you know, put people on or whatever. Right. But I'm on the computer doing some shit, and bro, for almost an hour, he's standing right here just freestyling in my face. And I'm like, that...
Like, what do you want from me?
When did you ever think that like...
This is going to get you somewhere.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure that wasn't the way to go about doing it.
Right.
Like, we could have had a grown adult conversation. If we connect as people, now we can speak on what can happen from there on out. Because if we're not connecting as people, it's now just a business transaction.
Right.
And if it's a business transaction, like...
Then I have to treat it as such.
Yeah, you're not bringing any money, so...
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Right. No, 100%. And I think that's where people have a failure to communicate at. They can't separate the two, right? In any situation, it should be mutually beneficial. But in situations where it's not, people are putting an investment in you, one way or the other, so they expect to get something in return. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not in a selfish way that, you know, it's not a bad thing to expect to get something in return, but you know, it can't be all take and no give in any situation, in any environment.
And sometimes I'll even like excuse what I'm looking for in return for the first little while,
right,
because I understand that a building process has to occur.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes I'll be like, all right, I understand he's still getting on his feet, so don't stress that yet. But that's where, like, you know what I mean, the rough situations come in, because it's like people don't have the motivation, or they come at things the wrong way,
right,
and it just messes it up before you can even get there.
Right.
And that's why I say I give anybody a chance, but as we've seen, few and far between stick it out,
yeah, and
stay around, because it's just consistency is key. Got to understand that we're building a team, and we're still building. You know
right,
what I mean? Sometimes people will come in and think that they're going to start seeing, and not even necessarily monetary gain, but they think they're going to see gain almost right away.
Yeah.
And after being here maybe a month or two, and they see that it's not necessarily affecting their life positively yet, it now becomes like, oh, why am I even doing this? Or like, I have better things to take care of. It's like, I understand that wasn't where your priority.
Okay.
That's not where your priority lies. And
right,
that is fine. I can't expect everybody to prioritize what I'm trying to build. That would be very, very selfish of myself.
Right.
But that's the whole team thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't stick it out for a couple weeks or a couple months, not see that it's helping you anywhere yet, roll out, and then what about 2-3 years from now, whenever it does blow up, you can't just come back.
Try to circle back around on it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we got the people here that's been building with us, and hey, if you're new and you want to come through, we gonna talk to you. We gonna see what you
What
got
you're
going
about.
on.
Yeah.
If you mesh with us, because we're not only just a team now, we're at the point of family. You know what I mean? We
Right.
all be doing shit with each other outside of this place. It's
Yeah.
not like we're just here clocking in, clocking out.
No, yeah.
So I want somebody that's going to mesh with us. I don't want someone that it's like, oh man, do you think he's going to show up tonight? Or like,
Or if you
not,
hope, I hope he doesn't show up tonight.
yeah,
type,
or like, if
Yeah.
not, should we call Caleb and make sure he can be back up? If
Right.
not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to go through all that.
Yeah, no, but shout out to the gang and everyone who helped put this together and came along the way and for whatever reasons are still not a part of it. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
the squad is marvelous. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody that helps put this shit together. We got Caleb working the boards tonight. Shout out to that man. He's always coming through and definitely looking out and volunteering his time. And that's the thing about it too. Like you gotta value other people's time in situations. And I noticed that with you, you provide a lot of people with opportunities, and they don't understand the time sacrifices that you're making by providing those opportunities. for
Yeah.
them. Like you said, you're a person who's always got something going on. You know, you have a family in addition to the things you do, but you provide opportunities that sometimes cost you not only your time, but your money as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not doing any of this for free. You know what I mean? Like this whole setup, this whole Bunchabull setup that you guys see around us, you know what I mean? This stuff comes with a cost, and it's a cost to do business. So whenever a person like you is taking your time out and, you know, using your finances to help others and opportunities, you know, people should appreciate that. Now, have you learned during your time of doing this from trial and error, like how to deal with people on that level whenever you're looking to partner with someone with the network or looking to maybe expand on a network? Have you learned from those past experiences with working with individuals?
Yeah,
The type of individuals you're looking for?
I've definitely learned, because you're never gonna just find the type of individual you're looking for, sadly. So I've learned have the same style, obviously not the same words, but have the same style conversation with everybody that you're, for lack of a better term, vetting for whatever situation. The people that give a fuck, they might even hit you up 15, 20 minutes after they leave the door and be like, bro, just once again, I want to appreciate you for taking time to have a conversation with me. I hope we can work shit out. That, bro, you already are at the top of my list right now. Like, unless somebody else beats that, like, you're at the top of my list because you're showing me you give a fuck. You're showing me that this doesn't start and end with you walking in and out the door trying to get you somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the people that will come in and they'll say that they got a plan for this and they got an idea for that, and hell yeah, let's lock in and let's do it. I don't put no weight into it. Yeah. I might sit down and have a conversation with one of you guys and be like, oh yeah, I was talking to so-and-so the other day. He said he might come do this podcast this weekend. But I don't put weight into it, because if it happens, I'm a man of my word. I'll be there.
Right.
You ain't got to worry about that. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to stress myself about it, because more often than not, I never get a text back. I never get a like follow up.
Yeah.
Nothing. So it's like, okay, you already kind of told me where
Show
you
me who
was
you
at.
are. Yeah.
It's like the we deal with it all the time when we go to these shows. It's
Yeah.
just the chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They come, oh yeah, man, we need to work.
We need to work. Yeah.
It's like,
That's what I always say. That's like the most popular thing for people to say.
Yeah.
At show settings, especially, like, oh man, we got to work. And I try not to say that for that reason, because it's such a commonly, it's like when people say, how are you doing in the morning? Like, you don't actually care how someone's doing. You just know it's a regular part of, it's a regular part of speech at this point. It's like a default thing to say, how are you? But yeah, no, I'm with you on that 100%. It is all about the follow up, and that's the big part of networking that a lot of people miss out on, is the follow up. You know, you can do the initial contact and hello and the meet and greet and all of those things, but it's always the follow up that shows people how genuine you are in your conversation and how committed you are to building a relationship and a rapport.
That was how I started making a name for myself in the hip hop community as someone that's a man of their word, because
Right.
I would go to these shows in Morgantown and I'd meet these artists and I'd for 100% free. I'd show up to these shows. I'd record every single artist set of the night. I'd be there all night recording everyone, having extra batteries, a dummy battery I plugged into the wall, you know, whatever. And then after each set, I'd walk up, meet them, be like, yo, bro, that was awesome. I got footage for you. I'm not an editor, but I'll send you the raw footage. You could do what you want with it.
Right.
And then 2-3 days later, when they get their footage, oh, damn, this dude that I just randomly met wasn't bullshitting at all.
Right.
And now I've become a man of my word in that community because everybody has gotten their shit. And now when I ask them, do you want to do an interview? It's well reciprocated. Hell
Right.
yeah, I'll come do an interview. Like, you hooked me up and now we're boys.
Yeah.
And like with Wolf Jones, man, me and him talk almost every day.
Yeah. Shout out Wolf Jones, man. That boy be doing his thing for sure.
Yeah, that's the homie for real.
For sure. So Bunchabull Studio, the network. You got episodes going on. You're doing your own episodes. Did you have I don't know. Did you have a favorite segment or show that you've done thus far? Like
I've been enjoying the weed reviews, but I wish that it would have lasted longer than it did. But there was a very short stint of Sand doing music reviews at the old studio.
Yeah.
And the only reason why those specific ones was just so good for me, like I loved them, was because somehow he was getting into the right Facebook groups. And I mean, we had so many people in our rooms just like talking shit on some bum's song. Like it was, it was like genuinely a music review.
Yeah.
Where like the
had some great
community
interaction.
was coming in.
Yeah.
We were coming in. It was just great all around, and we were never able to get that again. So
Right.
I don't know what Facebook groups he was in for music reviews or how he come about doing it, but there was like 2 or 3 of them that he did that was just
gold.
yeah. And I think it's the content, like the funny content, you know what I mean?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Not necessarily informative, but if you want to laugh, someone definitely going to tell someone their song was dog water.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, that's dope. So you're doing the network. Dan, what was I about to ask you? So, oh yeah, of course. So the trading cards and the trading card in a trading card community, you're big in that.
Yeah. I was always a fan of trading cards. I don't know what happened. At some point in my life, probably pussy. Pussy's probably what happened. Because at some point in my life, I just like forgot that trading cards existed.
Yeah.
And it was to the point where like I kicked myself all the time thinking about this. My mom would be like, hey, you care if I give that tub of cards in the attic to your nieces and nephews or, whoever? And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Man, you know how much money I gave away to little kids?
Right.
Craziness. But at some point, it was when I started looking for, this sounds crazy to say, but I started looking for more investments that were like,
Quicker returns.
yeah, but no. Like I'm not afraid of holding on to things to get a better return. It was more so I didn't want to have to do any real work.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was like I want to buy some shit, hold on to it, and then make some more money. So that's when like the collecting shoes came in, and then it somehow ended up back into trade. Metazoo come out somehow. No. It was Pokemon.
Okay.
I started buying a little bit of Pokemon on Whatnot. I forget how I even come about finding Whatnot. But throughout that, I had come across LPA. It was Live Poke Auctions. Shout out Bailey. And P Wood was a part of it at the time. My boy P Wood, he lives in Philly. That's my dude for real still. That's my dude. I don't get to talk to him much, but that's my boy. I started buying Pokemon because they both ran the page. Well, they were both streamers for the page, but Bailey owned it. And P Wood would do the Pokemon, and Bailey would do the Metazoo. And I just happened to click on their page one day when it was Metazoo and not Pokemon, and just fell in love with it because it was all cryptid shit. You know what I mean? It was like shit that we have literal folklore about. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we've all talked about some of this wild shit. We've all seen it on movies and wondered who come up with the idea.
Right.
And here it was really just legit native stories to some extent of each area. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I started fucking with that heavy. Got in real good with the community. Always. Now, sometimes in the trading card community, unless you're going to go to all the events right off the rip, spending money is how you're going to get in good.
Okay.
But that's because, like, you know what I mean? You want someone to pay attention to you or gain a connection with you, and it's over an app on the phone.
Right.
Okay, well, if
It's
he
hard
opens...
to gain that rapport with somebody just via an
when
app.
he's if someone else just bought a booster box and he's ripping that dude's booster box, how much conversating can I really do with him right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just becomes like, all right, buying packs, bullshitting with them, buying packs, bullshitting with them. Then you start going to events, start meeting everybody, kicking it with them. You start talking to motherfuckers you never thought you was going to talk to, meeting owners of shit. You know what I mean? It
turns into a real community.
Yeah, MetaZoo spiraled crazy for me pretty quickly. Sadly, that ended up short-lived as far as MetaZoo the company. Long live MetaZoo, you know, they're RIP.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was a good thing for me because then I found Canab Beast. And Canab Beast is 100%. That's, as far as trading card games go and communities, that's my family.
Yeah.
Like, I fuck with everybody. Everybody fucks with me. I'm at all the collecticons. Like, shout out Phil, the owner. That's my dude. Grand Line, House of Cards, Eli from E&A Warehouse. Like, you know, everybody, like, fuck, Caleb's met him. You know what I mean? We be going to every convention we can. They love seeing us. Hell, my leg just finished it.
Oh, you got the color in now?
Yeah, boy.
Okay.
And it's just, they're so welcoming. You know what I mean? No one's judging you. No one gives a shit about what you do outside of anything. If you fuck with the card game, that's enough.
Yeah.
And it's weed-based. Who the fuck don't?
Yeah.
If you fuck
Best
with
of both
weed, why
worlds.
would you not want to play a weed-based trading card game? That's
Right.
dope.
You get the best of both worlds, really. So it seemed like once you got into the trading card space or fell back in love with trading cards, you kind of went head first with it, embraced the community, and the community embraced you. And, you know, you even had some podcasts based in a trading card world.
Yeah.
So that was cool. You know what I mean? That was one of the things that Tuesday and Thursdays were dedicated to the trading card community and your trading cards. And, you know, you got a hell of a collection at this point. How many trading cards do you have? Do you have an idea of a number?
Oh, as far as like how many cards, easily into million.
A million.
Easily.
God damn.
But, bro,
I was gonna say tens of thousands, but million?
No, I have boxes of Pokemon bulk that's just energy cards and non-hollows and just shit that's not really worth much.
Right.
But you never know when a kid's gonna want some Pokemon cards and I can hand them
Just,
a stack.
yeah, break them out. Yeah.
So I keep them, but yeah, I have so much. But now, if you're
Bro, you said
talking
a million. That's crazy.
if you're talking how many different trading card games that I have invested into, 25 or less. I would say 25 would be a good number. Probably less, but for me to sit here and think of every one would be crazy. So, I would say probably 25 or less.
I'm going to ask you a question that's going to sound like the same question but different. Which card is the most valuable you have, and which card do you value the most?
It's funny because those are two different questions for me anyway, because I don't value the most valuable card the most for me. You know what I mean? Right now, the most valuable card I have, if it's not one of my graded Pokemons, because I don't keep up-to-date market values on those. I kind of just like to hold those. If it's not one of those, it's probably either my Akira Toriyama 1 of 1 from the Hikari set of Canab Beast, or the Love Boat from the Valentine's release, which has Mickey and Minnie Mouse on it.
Yeah, I remember that one.
obviously, I would like to say, obviously, the Akira Toriyama is worth more than the Mickey and Minnie, but given the right Disney collector, people will pay anything. And that's why I'm always so big on getting, like, all the new public domain set that just dropped. I had to get a whole bunch of it, because those are the types of things that you're not just now catering to the Canab Beast community. You know what I mean? McDonald's can put out some Disney cups or something, and people go nuts. Because if you're a Disney collector, you collect anything Disney. You'll go to the post office and get stamps.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you can. You'll go to Dollar General. If you ain't never seen the stick of gum with Mickey Mouse's face on it, you're buying a whole rack of it. They're crazy.
No, you're definitely right about that. It's funny that there are things that are like that have that cult like following, that no matter what happens with it, people are going to follow and people are going to subscribe to whatever it is. And Disney's definitely one of those things.
Yeah.
That has a cult like following to it. You know, I have one of my former employers, his daughter, like, named everything around her Disney. Like, her pet's name was Flounder. She named her kid after a Disney princess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everything around her. Like, so to your point, that's another community, right, within itself that people just go nuts for. So you're doing so you get into the trading card community. You're doing the podcast. Did it make sense at that point to just do some trading card podcast because you already were in both spaces?
The plan, it's not that it made sense. It's not that it made sense because I was in both spaces. It was that, to me, it made sense bridging the gap. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, I know these guys real well, and I fuck with them, and they fuck with me, and I'll support anything they got going on. So you would think, likewise, they're going to support what I got going on. So if I start doing some trading card podcasts, and not that I don't enjoy them, I'm going to enjoy them also. But now that's going to get them to the channel. Now they might...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now they might check out the
Other
interview
things,
that comes up in 2 days.
Right.
They might, you know what I mean? So it was kind of more so trying to find a way to bridge community gaps.
Mm-hmm.
How can we bring trading card communities that normally...
Don't interact.
would never interact with the same people that would be around for, like, our interviews or our weed
hip-hop
podcasts.
community necessarily, yeah.
And I feel like it's worked pretty well. I mean, we've had some great conversations with people that I know from the trading card community that popped up during a weed review or something.
Right.
So it's definitely been working out. I would like to do more because things have gotten slowed down a little bit, and that's because of Josh just being so busy.
Right.
But we have Tuesday nights now. We're back on. I'm going to try to stream as much as I can on Tuesday nights. We do Magic the Gathering card night here. So if you're local, you want to play Magic the Gathering, Tuesday nights. They're here late. I leave around 8 or 9.
Seems like y'all been getting a pretty good crowd for that too, huh?
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to do more. More will definitely start when I get all of my Kickstarter stuff in from Nom Nom Verse. I have like a whole case of booster boxes, a whole case of blisters. Like, I got all kinds of shit. But it's not until, I believe, end of September.
Okay.
So once that comes, I'll have a whole bunch of shit that I can open on camera and get content out of.
Right.
But right now it's too hard to make content with
The same material.
Yeah, with no content.
Right. Now, I know we spoke, I think the last time I asked you this question was like the end of season 1 of Marley State of Mind, but since then, do you have a favorite episode of the Marley State of Mind podcast?
All right, so every time someone asks me about favorite stuff, just like you asked me about like what was my favorite segment that like we ever did, and I brought up the sand shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always because I find I don't want to say funny moments, but they are funny because it makes you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But I find laughter moments just goofy shit is like the spice of life. That always ends up being what like draws me in more. And so it has to be, ah man, I can't remember what his name is right now. I apologize that it skips me. But what made it funny was old boy just being ready to just go down in that chair.
Oh, you talking about the Doughboy episode?
Yes, yes. Bruh, old boy was standing back here dancing. He didn't want to dance. He didn't want to dance. He felt like he was being forced to dance. Bro, it was just all a mess. I mean, it was a great episode. That's why I love it. But it was just like the way it all went down. I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. Like, that's one that should have went viral.
Oh my
just
God,
because of
yeah.
how spontaneous everything was.
Check out that Doughboy episode, man.
Definitely. If you want a
And bro
good
passed out in the
episode.
chair. He came in. I think we got him. I think he had too much of that smoke in him, because he definitely went down in the chair.
Yeah.
Definitely went down in the chair. I ain't never see that one before. That was a first. That was a Marley State of Mind first. Bro passed out in a chair.
It was like every time I thought the fuckery was over, someone else turned the knob back up to 11. I was like,
100%.
all right, hell yeah. But
No,
that's
I definitely had artists baked out coming out of here though. They be roasted.
But I enjoy those things. I don't ever look at those as bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was still a great episode.
Damn, the Doughboy episode was your favorite?
For this season so far, yeah, because like I said, it was very memorable. You know what I mean?
It was memorable for sure.
And I got some good laughs. Anybody that watches it would get some good
They're gonna
laughs.
find some entertainment in it.
Yeah.
He said bro didn't want to dance.
It was just like his body language was just like, man, why the fuck you got me up here doing this? It's almost like he deals with that like 20 times a day. Like every time they meet someone new, like, nah, bro is wild.
Yeah,
Show him the move.
Show him the move.
He's like, motherfucker.
Damn, again. That's funny as hell. No, it's definitely some truth to that. I think my favorite episode as of recently is probably the Little Sis episode was cool.
And I feel like maybe the reason why I'm not as attached, I'm not as attached to it because I didn't get to, like, I didn't feel the energy of the room myself.
Yeah, that was special, man. That was cool. Having her on and talk about her journey, and you know what I mean, and that's my family. So it's funny because I learned a lot about who she was as an artist, or who she is as an artist, and how deliberate she is with a lot of her music. You know, down to the title, and all of it having a message and being purposeful in her life. You know what I mean, at the time. And I thought that was cool to get that insight, because I always tell people whenever I talk about her is she's a real artist when it comes to music. Like, she's like what you think of when you think of a musical artist. Like, you know what I mean, she's motivated by life and life events, and she tries to express herself. Not tries, but she expresses herself through music. A lot of ways. And there's individuals like that. You know, another individual I like that I enjoy in that way is Moda Natural. Like, they're individuals, if you listen to their music, you're like, oh, I kind of know who this person is already.
Yeah.
Sean's like that too. Sean Ski's a lot like that. Like, if you listen to the music, you get to know who they are as people.
You can feel, not only can you hear, because a lot of times people say like, oh, I can hear your pain in that. And I'm not discrediting that, because that is a thing. But I like to more so feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to hear it, obviously, but like, is it hitting me?
Right.
You know what I mean? Shit. There's time you could put on a song. We're all grown-ass adults. I guarantee you. There are certain songs that any of us put on and drive down the back road by ourselves.
It's going to bring a tear to your eye.
It's going to cut you. You know what I mean? You going to feel that.
Yeah. You ever hear the song, you'll appreciate it. You ever hear the song Daughters by Nas? Like, that's one of the songs every time I hear, I'm like, damn.
Yep. That's a lot like,
like, why? This is making me sad.
Man, what was the song? I gotta remember what it is. The song about, like, dude telling his daughter why he ain't around with him and his girl fighting and shit.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how, like, bro, like, she just uses you against me.
Right.
I can't remember what the song is. Damn. That's going to drive me nuts. I'll text you tonight with it, I guarantee.
For sure. No, but there's definitely a connection with artists.
It's CMG. Who's Yo Gotti? I think it's Yo. No. It's Starlito.
Okay.
Starlito and damn it, Dawn Trip.
Okay, I ain't hear that joint.
Well, it's a Dawn Trip song.
Yeah, I mess with Starlito for sure.
Yeah, it's a Dawn Trip song. I'll send it to you.
For sure. But yeah, no, I think it's something special about artists who leave themselves vulnerable and open themselves up, and you get to know them through their music. And I think they make a special type of connection with their audience.
It's called Letter to My Son. It got CeeLo Green in it.
Okay, that's fire. CeeLo singing some sad shit. Like, maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, that was one of them songs where, like, you can not only can you hear it, but you can feel that man's pain. Like, you could tell
he's really going through that shit.
Yeah, what he's speaking about is for real.
Yeah, no, it's something to be said for that type of music, bro. And I appreciate artists that are able to be vulnerable in that way, because it's got to be tough to open yourself up like that to strangers and just...
It's got to be tough to, like, have to do so many takes, because you got to assume that, like...
It's hard to get through that shit.
Bro, you cried through the first 20. You know what I mean? And not in any negative way. I would expect you to. You know what I mean? When you're pouring your heart out on the track, I expect the tear to come out if it's a
Real
emotional song.
Yeah. For sure. So with the so you're doing the network, you're getting traction, you're starting to see you're doing new episodes, you're bringing on new podcasts to it. Was there ever a time when you're going through the ups and downs where you felt like it wasn't worth it?
Yeah, but it still happens sometimes off and on, but I have to remind myself that, like, I didn't start where I'm at now mentally with this place and where I was at when I started this place is two different things, and I can't hold myself to the same expectations of what we started with to where we are. Because when I started all this, me and Art was just looking for lack of a better term, a get-rich-quick scheme. You know what I mean? How can we gain some traction and get some motherfuckers on here and start getting views and make some money off YouTube? That was the thought. Now I'm out here thinking, like, how can we find more ways to help the community? How can we find more ways to, like, reach out to people? Obviously, I would like to make money off of this place so it can at least pay for itself.
Right.
But that's my thing, is I have to remind myself that I'm not doing this for the money anymore, as far as, like, that's not my end game. My goal is not to become rich from this place. It's to find a way to help the community, whether it be getting kids off the streets because they're here doing music,
right,
or people coming together because they all watch the show. I mean, I know that's a little far-fetched, but you know what I mean? Any way that happens. I feel that I can help.
And you'll be surprised by how many people, I know I am sometimes, I'm surprised by people that tell me that they watch the show, like, oh yeah, I like the show, I'm a fan of it. I'm always like, damn, for real, you watch the show? Not that I know, I see the numbers, I know people are watching, but it never ceased to amaze me to who's watching. Because you never know who's watching. And I have people that I know that come up to me like, oh yeah, I like the episode. They might start talking about something like, oh damn, you really watch, like,
yeah,
what I mean, you're really tuned in. So I always think that's cool. So you never know who's going to come in and come together behind the show. And I think we've certainly built a community that way too, because there's people who may not know each other from nothing else but an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I seen your episode. I know you from that. Like,
yeah, you
seen that kind of at the show, the Shonsky show. You seen that, like, some of those people didn't know each other personally, but they knew.
Yep.
Their interactions from the show.
Oh yeah, I seen him on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had to step back and, because what'll happen is I try to keep myself as minimal as possible to keep up the output on everything else that I can. So, like, yes, I have a nice car, but I don't drive it. I drive my work beater. consistently, and I need a new one terribly. Like my rear frame is falling apart. It's messed up. But sometimes I'll get in those situations where, like, okay, leaving Lancaster, my sunroof drains are clogged up. So when it rains, it leaks through and lands on my seat. Well, the day we're leaving Lancaster, it just got done raining. My whole seat's soaking wet. So I got to drive home with a towel under me. You know, it's just like small shit like that. I'll be like, man, I need to just go buy a new vehicle. And then I think about, well, why can't I just go buy a new vehicle right now? Because I have, like, I'm paying rent here. I'm paying all the bills here. Like, that's an extra thing that I can't cover that and a $500-600 a month car payment or whatever it could be.
Right.
Like, I just can't cover that. And then I'll down spiral into, well, how much money have I spent on the studio so far? And that's, you don't ever want to go there because, you know, once I do the math and I'm like, oh, so in the last 2 years of me having this place, I've spent $52,000, and that's just on bills. That's not the equipment. That's just bills. $52,000.
Right.
I could have bought.
Yo, this fly is crazy.
I could have bought cash any SUV I wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Easy.
Like,
easy.
And so, like, those moments, yes, I do get myself down in the dumps a little bit of it and be like, well, is this even worth it? But then I have to remind myself,
why you truly do it.
I'm not doing this for the money. Like, at some point, my time will come. Like, if 2 years from now, it seems like shit's slowing down, then maybe I'll shut it down. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna be 33 in December. I'm not gonna pass away anytime soon, God willing. I got enough time to work out what I need to work out if this doesn't work out.
Right.
And I seen this on a meme the other day. But it holds so true. What's crazy is a lot of people, they're like so afraid of trying to do something new or trying to open up a business because, like, what if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? Okay, well, my worst case scenario is what you do every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if this doesn't work out, I just have to go back to working.
Right.
You already work every day.
You already do that.
Like,
yeah, you already got the worst case scenario.
yeah, my worst case scenario is you're normal. Like,
my brother always, he's got a saying that I've adopted that nothing changes anything but a yes. So, like, if you don't ask, it's as good as a no. So why not ask and, you know, to have a better chance of getting a yes?
yeah.
So why not try have a better chance of getting success? You know, the same thing applies. If you don't try, you're certainly not going to get it that way. So why not try and at least have a chance to fail? I mean, at least have a chance to succeed. And if you fail, you just end up right back where you were anyway.
Yeah.
So what difference does it make? So that is a good perspective to have on it. And it's I think it's funny how your mentality mimics mine. And you know, just being an artist in music, it's the same thing because, you know, you can easily, how do you rate success or how do you find what success is? So it's much easier to feel like you failed or fail than it is to get a win or success. And even when you get those successes and wins, it's still short-lived and you still feel like,
Yeah.
you know, you're starting all over again. Now, with that being said, I did want to question to you, like, what do you gauge success at with the network? Like, what do you feel would make you successful? Or do you feel like you've already achieved that? Because, I mean, we've grown a bunch.
I feel like to some extent we're on the path of being successful. Or yeah, I guess. Cause it's like, I don't look at it as monetary. Now, obviously, because of the way the world is, usually that's part of the conversation with anything else. You know what I mean? Like, if you're touching a lot of people, no diddy, with your content, then obviously you're probably making monetary gains also. You know what I mean? So it's like a hand in hand with that. But outside of the monetary thing, I feel like we would be successful when we get to the point, like I was saying earlier, when motherfuckers reach out to us to do shit. You know what I mean? Like, whenever an artist from Cali
people do reach out to us. But you mean like? I mean, like, you're talking like industry artists.
Playboy Cardi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, industry artists. Like, someone from Cali hits us up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna fly in next week, can you?
Dirk's people reach out like, hey, we're
Yeah,
trying
you know what I mean?
we're gonna
Then
be
I'm
in the
going to be like,
Pittsburgh
oh,
area,
hell
we need
yeah.
to-
Or even if, like, we get a chance to work with another podcast, you know what I mean? Sometimes people want to do those collab type deals. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of shit. We might get Joe Rogan be like, hey, I'm going to go gamble this weekend. You guys want to live stream and follow me around? Like, hell yeah, why would I not?
I would love that.
But, like, I
Fuck
feel
with the Joe
like that
Rogan
would be
podcast.
when I feel
Joe Rogan, get at us, bro.
most definitely. I feel like that's when I would think the network is successful. And again, obviously that comes with the monetary gains, but that's not
That's
necessarily
not where you gauge. That's not where you gauge your
Yeah.
success at.
even if we didn't get to the point of people asking us to do shit, like famous people asking us to do shit, even if I could see that, like, there's a crowd of motherfuckers that care or like enjoy the con, you know what I mean? If like I can see that someone enjoys waiting on a Friday to watch the review,
Yeah.
or can't wait till Saturday because of the next Marley episode. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, because I know those things, what we do doesn't necessarily heal the soul.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not out here like being life teachers or guidance or anything. So we can't really necessarily say that like we help people.
Yeah.
But some people just like
Shit. Hopefully, we do help people.
that. But that's what I was gonna say with this is like, you know, some people, they have their specific programs that they enjoy, and
That's their outlet.
yeah, that does help. Like me, I go home, I don't give a shit what you tell me is on TV. I'm putting anime on.
Yeah.
I'm putting anime on and I'm watching it.
'Cause
And
that's
that's
your
what I
escape.
enjoy. I don't care if I got to rewatch the same 5 animes for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's your escape, though.
Yep.
And if we can be someone's escape, then
Yeah, if we give them an hour and a half of laughs and they forgot that they're dealing with their piece of shit stepdad downstairs or whatever, you know what I mean? And hell yeah.
yeah.
That's where I'll find some success.
Hell yeah, man. No, I agree with that. I think success does register beyond monetary, and I mean, we live in a capitalistic society, so it's easy to fall into gauging success
Yeah.
with some type of financial gain. But there's much more to it than that. And experience, you know, I mean, this is the thing. Even if you and I decided to not stay with this the whole time, or we got recruited by Barstool Sports or something like that, they wanted to take our show. Now we have the experience that we can feel comfortable holding down a
Oh, hell
segment.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And really be good with what we're doing. So
Hell
you
yeah.
know, you also gain in that way. It doesn't always have to be monetary or some type of, you know, financial exchange with it. You just get experience, and that's quite the blessing in itself.
Yep, and that goes back to earlier with what we were saying was like, you know, depending on how the conversations are had, is this a business transaction or is this like genuine connection and networking?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's like, we don't, once it gets to that point of like success, like you said with Barstool Sports and shit, we're not even worried about the monetary. This isn't a business transaction
Right.
anymore.
Right.
Like, this is, you guys enjoy our show, because they're definitely not gonna just like, hey, we like your show, come join us.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're gonna have to go sit with them, bullshit with them, maybe go out for drinks a couple times, make
Yeah.
sure they even like us.
That's right. Yeah.
And so now it just becomes more of a connection than it did ever the business transaction of it.
Exactly. Now, currently on a network, what shows do we have running live, and what days can people catch them?
Right now, consistently that we can for sure say run is Friday and Saturday. Friday, 6 p.m. we have the Stash Spot. We do weed reviews. Majorly on local brands or brands that'll like get a hold of me and reach out.
That's right, brands. If y'all want to give us the reviews,
Yeah.
definitely send them things through.
Yeah, any of y'all ever decide that y'all need to get y'all shit reviewed, get it out there, get some eyes on it, we will do that for you.
That cannabis.
Yeah,
Hey, man,
we
and
do
listen,
that.
man, I'm going to open it up like this, too. If you do some infused stuff, you know, you bake it,
Yes.
you cook it, you want
we
to
do
send some
that
of them,
too.
you want to send some of the goodies through, we'll let you know how that work out, too,
Most
for sure.
definitely.
Bring them baked goods through, them cookies.
And then yeah, we got We got you doing big things on Saturday.
World's dopest podcast, the Marley State of Mind podcast, down here at Bunchabull Studios. Speaking of which, how can people follow Bunchabull Network on social media?
On Facebook, it is just Bunchabull Space Studio. Instagram, it's Bunchabull_studio. YouTube, y'all are already here, I believe. And I mean, my personal page is connected to all those, so the second you click on them, you'll see me somewhere.
Yeah, man. And if you're an artist that hasn't been a guest on the show, even if you are an artist who has been a guest on the show, definitely feel free to reach out to any of those channels and networks to book with us. We'd love to have you on, talk about your art, your craft. Even if you aren't an artist, we just like different creatives. We've had, I think that's the dope thing about the show too. We've had Marley State of Mind show. We've had different creatives.
I love the sculptor.
Yeah.
Bro, that shit was so dope.
Yeah, my man Ak, man. Abdul, what's up, Ak? That was dope. He had some very dope pieces. So we've had a sculptor on, a visual artist. Yeah, Ak. We had Nate Fox down here, Grammy Award winning producer for artists like J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, Janae Aiko, whomever you could think of.
We had Big Germ in this bitch.
Yeah, we had Big Germ. Shout out to Bro. He came on early on too. He came on early on.
Yeah, he was showing love. And I appreciated that heavy whenever you told me he was coming through, because it's like that's that's respect. B, that's like you got faith.
Yeah.
You mean he got faith that this is not just some bullshit. So he was down with.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I got trust in y'all, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, shout out Big Germ coming on here.
Y'all definitely need to back up and watch that.
Yeah, check out that episode, man. Check out the Big Germ episode.
Because if y'all know Wiz, if y'all know Mac, you know what I mean? If y'all know Pittsburgh, there's no way you don't know who Big Germ is.
And if you don't know who he is, then you should familiarize yourself, certainly.
Definitely.
Because he's responsible for some of your favorite songs that you may not even know.
Y'all be shaking ass to Big Germ's music.
Yeah, for sure. For sure you have. So definitely check out that episode. I think that is that's definitely one of my favorite guests and favorite episodes for sure. One of definitely top five episode for me, because he had so many great stories. Told us about when he met Diddy. He said he just got finished watching Get Him to the Greek, and then he was in the same room with Diddy. He thought that was crazy. No Diddy.
Yo, we should have knew something was up whenever Diddy was cool with being on Get Him to the Greek that crazy. He chasing him down the street. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, he probably lives like that for real.
We should have knew something was up with that man.
We should have known in that
He was
time.
on the nitrous.
He wasn't even just acting; he was for real. But yeah, it's been a great time. We've had a lot of great episodes. Some great visual artists. We had a baker on here. We've had my man Dion Dupree of Grind Mode, who just does everything. Has his hands in so many things.
I always be seeing posts from him. Like, shout out that man for real. He always got some shit going on.
Always, man.
Doing big things.
Yeah, he's a grinder, working with different artists like Jim Jones, and I mean, I can go on and on. Dion does his thing, man.
Yeah.
And what's that? Yeah, Harlan, PK Pooh, man. That was such a great episode too, man. Shout out Harlan. That's my dog. That's my dog now too. We've been locked in, but he's such a great person.
Yeah.
And his story is so inspiring, so great, because he was really in them streets, and then turned his life around. You know what I mean? After experienced a life and death situation where he was shot, and he said that's what it took for him to realize like the way he's living is not right. And he's really out here doing his thing, in the church, performing.
As he's always sending me his new music. I got to make sure I share that for him. I respect him a lot.
Such a great dude, man. So many great people. I don't want to miss anyone, because all of you are all of you are special.
Definitely.
Your man's with the Damn Lands, with the Damn Lands movie, Ben
Promuk.
Hey, Ben, man, that film was
him
like
and my boy Aaron Cooper.
Aaron Cooper for sure. Them dudes showed us a lot of love. allowed us to be extras in their film.
Yeah, I'm excited for our like 2-second scene.
Yeah, man.
I
Get
can't wait to see
our
it.
big screen debut. Shout out to them. You know what I mean? That's another cool creative. Even
Yeah.
outside of the hip hop space we had on. We had Dee Diaz. She was an entrepreneur, a business coach. Had a lot to offer to the people, and as far as advice goes to be an entrepreneur and in business. Just so many great guests that are doing so many great things, even outside of just the music. So yeah, man, and I appreciate you. You know, I tell you all the time.
Oh yeah.
Every time I get a chance, because I'm big on gratitude, and you're a person most deserving of mine. Big shout out to you for all that you've done for the community, for the hip hop community, for the local hip hop community, the space that you allow. And I think, you know, I can't say it enough, bro, how much I appreciate you and how much you mean to me.
Oh no, I appreciate that for real. But for real though, big shout out to you for coming through today. And we was there for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
My boy, shout out Phil Mosley.
Yeah.
Did the LBM book bag drive.
Yes, sir.
4th annual. We was out there for 2 hours podcasting it. They were out there for way longer, but you know, we have other obligations sadly. But yeah, my boy Marley pulled up on me, did the podcast. I wasn't sure I was going to have a co-host, so I asked him like, "Hey, you down for this?" And you pulled through, and I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Of course. So yeah, no, absolutely. So what's the future look like for Bunchabull Studio? What do you have in mind? What do you envision? What would you like to see take place?
Well, I'm gonna be given that's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you already kind of know what the future is as of right now, because I'm kind of given the whole, unless someone comes to me with a good idea and they're good with like hosting it, you know what I mean? Like I'm cool with running computer, I'm cool with setting up, you know, flyers and that. But as long as they're cool with it being their show and them coming to me with a good idea, I'm hitting the brakes on like, the only things I'm worried about right now is our Friday, our Saturday, and anything that me and Josh and Caleb do with trading cards. Our Tuesday Magic the Gathering nights. May add another TCG night here or there if possible.
Right.
But as far as trying to find full-on shows, I'm not stressing that right now, because we need to, what we've been talking about a lot is we're going to focus on trying to get a couple more high-profile people in here.
Right.
And, you know, because I just feel like that's our thing, is the community loves us, and the community's gonna, if they don't know us, they're gonna love us. Like,
Right.
we're not assholes.
Right.
Or a little bit, but okay. I feel like just sometimes we don't have enough star power to pull people's eyes away from TikTok
Right.
or, you know, something else. And that's no shot against anybody, because I love everybody that's come through and I appreciate it. But it's just sometimes if, like, I don't know who, I mean, I know who Layla Del Rey is, but, like, I don't listen to her music. So,
Right.
like, someone does an interview with her, I don't
It's not going to catch
care.
your eye.
You know what I mean? I'm not clicking on it.
Right.
But if we get someone that's
No
more...
shade to her, of course, if you want to come
Yeah,
on here.
no, it's just she's not my style.
Right, yeah.
But if we get someone that's more universal or something, then we're going to get a little bit bigger of a crowd and
Right.
more people. And that just,
Like if we were to have Dwayne Johnson on here, obviously it's going to
oh, yeah,
pull
my
in a
God,
different
yeah.
type of...
And that might be the one thing that people need to fuck with us.
To go catch the other episodes, like, oh, I like this
Yeah.
episode so much. And I've had that happen. Like, people will come to me like, oh, I caught an episode with my homie. I knew him, and I thought that episode was so good. I went back and checked out other episodes, or I went and looked through. I've had that happen. So
Yeah,
that's
there's
definitely a thing.
There's some times where you click on, and I'm guilty of it with other people's streams and stuff. You click on it, you might be catching them at a moment where, like earlier today, we stepped away from the table to burn one.
Yeah, yeah.
If someone joins the stream during
At
that,
that point,
moment,
yeah.
they're exiting the stream.
Yeah, because they don't know what's going on.
You know what I mean? They're doing nothing. Nobody's at the table. What's going on?
Right.
Or there's no conversation. Like, if we was just sitting here silent, motherfuckers is exiting out.
Yeah.
Why are they watching us
Why
just
am I
sit here?
Yeah.
But if they get a little bit of interaction from one because they watched more than 30 seconds, they're going to be like, oh, well, there was a couple dead spots throughout that episode, but, you know, it was actually out of context whenever I did it last time. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's what it is sometimes a motherfucker will just enter the stream during a dead spot.
Right.
And it's like, it's kind of just more out of context because if you'd have waited 10 more seconds,
you would have got what you needed.
yeah, it would have picked right back up.
Right.
You know, someone might have just been thinking or taking a drink or whatever may be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think finding a way to pull more people universally in. I'm not trying to look for like any one specific crowd.
Yeah.
More
Focusing
so.
more on what we already have in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with that for sure. You already know. But yeah, man, this was a fun episode. Like I said, I keep wanting to call it long overdue, but it's really not. It came at the right time.
Yeah.
I think this was a good time to touch on the network and the things we've had going on and the things we plan on having going on. And if y'all haven't checked out the Stash Spot episodes on Friday, make sure y'all tune into those. Those are a lot of fun.
Yeah, we get high and talk shit. So like, if you really enjoy, like,
Yeah.
if you enjoy random adult banter,
and you get the bud reviews.
yeah,
too.
we do. We definitely do review the bud. You know what I mean? We do give you the smell, how it looks. You're gonna see it under the camera. It's the whole 9 yards. We ain't cheaping it out. But that's like the clubhouse talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where you go if you want to hear motherfuckers cut up on each other.
Yeah, kicking it with the homies.
And just talk shit.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoy any time I get to come and do those, and be here for those because it is a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Just BSing with the homies. It's almost like an extended bullshitting with Jesse, but just a little different format. So definitely fuck with those. And of course, I'm gonna be here every Saturday. You know, we're bringing them special guests all week long. We won't be here next Saturday. So if you're tuning in now,
He's late. He don't even know.
we won't be here next Saturday.
Nope. This Thursday coming up is when we're going to do the Stash Spot reviews. Friday, we're going to be in Richmond, Virginia. I'm rolling out that morning, I believe. Be there for the weekend for Collect-A-Con with Canab Beast. I'm bringing my camera. Since he don't have a podcast that weekend, I'm bringing the camera, bringing the laptop. We're going to do a stream. I tried to do it last time. We had no time. It was a mess.
Yeah.
A good time, but it was a mess. So we're gonna do it this time for sure. Even if I gotta go live on the drive down, shit, I'm gonna go live on the drive down.
Fucking right.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So yeah, make sure you tune in for that at some point. Who knows? Just keep an eye out because I'm not gonna be able to schedule it. But Stash Spot Thursday, 6 p.m.
Yes,
Eastern.
sir. We're there Thursday, 6 p.m. But until then, you're on the world's dopest podcast, the Marley State of Mind podcast, down here at the Bunchabull Studios, as we always are. We'll see y'all not next Saturday, but the following Saturday with another special guest. And hopefully y'all there with us too, man. Till then, we out.
Peace. Get you.